So welcome everyone to Unit Masters Cohort 6. We're in week 6 of our 6 weeks free blockchain literacy program. And this week is about understanding the different projects and applications of use cases of blockchain technology and beyond for our society and what impact it will have on our everyday lives as people who are confronted with technology every day. And we have with us today Yingzi. Yingzi lives in Paris and she works at Ubisoft, which is one of the largest gaming companies in the world. Very, very exciting. And in her role, and I hope you will explain to us what you do, Yingzi, is also to screen the landscape for strategic innovation. She works a lot with startups, including startups in the blockchain world, but not only limited to that. And she works a lot with understanding different topics around what will impact the gaming industry, what is the metaverse, and also what role does like mixed reality, which is VR, AR, and whatever else is out in there. I'm not an expert in that, brings to our communities. Welcome, and thank you very much for being with us today. Hand over the stage to you.
Hi, yep. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. So I met Yep in Lisbon Blockchain Week. So blockchain is part of my personal interest, but also part of my job. So maybe just to give you a context of who I am and what I'm working on. So as Yip said, I'm working for Ubisoft currently. So I work in a team that is called a Strategic Innovation Lab. So basically it's an internal R&D team. So we have a couple of different teams and different projects. I'm mainly focused on everything that is concerning tech innovation, especially open innovation with startups. Because this kind of big company, they are having a hard time to do everything, right? They need to follow their business, that is the production of a video game. However, there are so many emerging technologies such as AR, VR, mixed reality, blockchain that is happening. So the big company need to keep an eye on those emerging technologies in order not to be not to miss out those opportunities, and those innovations can generate a lot of different business model, different products, different services, different gameplays, for example. So that is very important to look into as well. So that is the role of my team. And then as a project manager, I'm currently doing a couple of internal and external collaboration projects. And especially I'm managing Incubator. We are incubating different startups, including a couple of blockchain startups. They are kind of in different spheres, not only in the traditional blockchain gaming, but also, for example, in decentralized infrastructure, and also blockchain data analysis. And also, for instance, we have Crucible, who is kind of a Metaverse SDK for digital identity across different platforms, or let's say across different metaverse. So that may give you an idea of what I'm doing and what the company is doing. So really honored to talk about the topic of gaming, mixed reality, and a metaverse today. Where can I start? Maybe I will just start with the notion of metaverse because, well, it's a trending topic, right? Everybody's talking about it. However, because it's the ongoing, in the making process, so a lot of different definitions. Of course, from a gaming industry point of view, we have a different vision from, for example, blockchain community, right? Regarding my research and from my point of view, metaverse is a shared and persistent virtual universe. And then there are a couple of criteria, or let's say specificities of this metaverse. So it is, for example, parallel, enhanced 3D virtual universe. So it has to include at the same time those couple of elements to make a metaverse. If you are only a 3D world without the persistency or without the real-time interaction, you wouldn't be able to call yourself a metaverse either. So that is like very basic. That is the definition part, right? But it's important for us to understand, especially when we're doing the benchmark, for example, of the platform that are existing already in the market today. We need to select who are the potential growing metaverse, who are not, right? From a gaming industry point of view, also, let's say we have a couple of different elements that is consistent across different gaming metaverse. For instance, we always have a very important element that is social functionality. So people are going online, going to the virtual place, not only to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or do trading, right? That's called a platform. That's called a functionality. However, people go to these metaverse platforms to live a life, to know each other, to get to socialize, right? So that first element of social functionality is very important. And some other elements are, for instance, user-generated content, because when we are comparing traditional gaming environment and metaverse, we can see that, well, even though traditional gaming is fun, a lot of players, but it's always a top-down design. So the gameplay, the storyline are always designed by the producer. And then they have to do this kind of market research in advance to get to know what is the selling point, what's the direction of artistical direction of each game in order to fit the demand. However, in the metaverse, we can see there are a lot of user-generated content, so we can fit a different niche. We can have the long tail effect. Different communities, how small they are, they can have a space, they can have their own channel, they can have their own community. So that is what's happening in the real world, and then that is what's happening in the virtual world as well. So another element, for instance, is integrated economy. So that also brings to the other topic of blockchain, of course, because in the traditional gaming sphere, we can see that even though you have this in-game currency that can be bought with your fiat, and then because, for example, if you buy with your dollar, with your euro, with your RMB, you can spend it in the game as virtual money, as in-game currency, right? However, regarding the cashing out, you can never take your money back like normally. It's always like a walled garden and a closed economy. So that is what differentiates also a metaverse and a traditional closed environment gaming ecosystem. And what is also important to acknowledge is that the scalability of metaverse. Because when you are doing traditional game design or virtual reality, mixed reality experience design, because it is top down, right? So you can never have enough resources. You can never have enough professional game designers, professional game developers to do everything, to do a unlimited world. However, with hopefully the infrastructure with the tool that is being democratized for everybody to create, the virtual world as the metaverse is scalable. So those are a couple of specificities of the metaverse in comparison, especially with the traditional gaming industry. And of course, I also mentioned the role of crypto, of blockchain in it. So that is kind of like around the notion, the definition, and the criteria of defining a metaverse. And especially in gaming industry, we can see a couple of emerging platforms such as Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, or Animal Crossing, this kind of game that are more or less the metaverse. Well, sometimes they don't fit all the criteria of metaverse, For instance, Fortnite has a great social functionality. They are doing this event, and then different players can interact with each other in this virtual world as well. However, for instance, it's not a very decentralized system. It is with a top-down design. All the events, they are centralized as well. It's not a community organized event. The huge events, they are normally organized by the game itself, inviting big stars to generate a lot of buzz, to make a real news out of it, right? But that is one of the examples. And we also have examples such as Roblox. So it's much more decentralized with a pretty developed developer economy. Well, in the market, it's one of the most developed currently, because as a developer of Roblox, you can actually contribute to the creation of game inside of this game. And then you can actually get real reward, get real money for your work inside of this virtual space, which is incredible. However, because it's not a blockchain-based game, basically it's only like third-party payment company who is paying the money, the transaction between Roblox and you to make it secure and make the money flow, right? So, well, this is one of the solution, one of the current solution. However, when we are seeing the blockchain-based, crypto-based metaverse, we can see that the flow is much more fluid, and the transaction is easier as well. So it will actually encourage people to create more, because Roblox as an open platform, people are creating, but it's not open for everybody. The ideal goal is that everybody will be able to create something, right? You don't need to submit an application to be an official developer. So that is now 100% decentralized. So I wouldn't spend maybe more time on all of the games, such as Minecraft, Animal Crossing, but maybe I would just point out, for example, some issues around the gray market regarding those games. So basically, these games, this so-called metaverse, they don't encourage working inside of the game to get rewarded, to get real payment as a salary, for example. So always we have this gray market issue. There are external websites, there are external marketplace where you can buy, for example, the work of somebody inside of your Animal Crossing island to plant it to some trees, to pick up oranges, I don't know. So this kind of gray market can generate some spam, right? That is impacting the user experience inside of the games. Sorry, I lost my voice recently. So those are a couple of examples that we can give in the current stage of the metaverse games, right? Of course, when we're combining different technologies such as gaming and mixed reality, we have other metaverse such as VR chat. So it is a virtual reality platform where you can create your own avatar, where you can create your own space. So it is a very important, very interesting phenomenon to see as well. So inside of VR chat, people are interacting with each other, having conversations, socializing with each other with with an avatar. So people sometimes can be more direct, and then it's kind of like have a social impact, meaning that it's a therapy. When in real life you cannot tell everybody about everything in this virtual world, you're with your avatar, right? So sometimes people are more direct. So there is a YouTube channel about a journalist interviewing people inside this virtual space. So that gives also some insight of this, the other side of this metaverse, meaning that we cannot only see the economic transaction. We also need to see how human are, how
human still inside of this metaverse, right? Sorry. Okay, so different companies have different strategies around the metaverse. For instance, Epic Games is developing Fortnite. So their advantages of developing it is, for example, the creative mode. They have very integrated UGC tools. Their second advantage is that they have a lot of cross-media experiences. So they have a lot of famous IPs. As a company, they are signing deals with the other IP holders to integrate different avatars, different IP images such as Marvel's, Disney inside of their metaverse to get a cross-promoted event, etc. So it is kind of a space, as in real life we have advertising on the street. They have advertising inside of their virtual space. And they also have a party mode. So the kids love it. So instead of going out with the other friends, they are socializing and hang out inside of the game instead. So that is one example of a company's strategy regarding the metaverse. However, if we compare with the strategy of some of the blockchain-based metaverse, we can see that they're quite different. For instance, the Sandbox, it's a blockchain-based, CryptoVoxel blockchain-based. If we see how we can play the game differently, we will see that in CryptoVoxel, the most common behavior is that people will buy the land, or people will sell a land, or people will rent a piece of land, or people just do social stuff on top of the land. So that is what makes the difference, right? So because people have the ownership of their land, so there is an economic transaction that is super integrated. And so people have these economic incentives to make this world fun, to have more attractions, to have more tourists inside this world. So that's why since last year, we have a lot of virtual galleries during COVID that is moving their exhibitions, their galleries online to make people to purchase art pieces on the virtual land, or to create a game inside of this virtual place and then to charge people entrance fee to go into this game, right? So this is the economy inside of this blockchain-based metaverse. So that is a comparison between Epic Game and CryptoVoxel, blockchain-based and non-blockchain-based metaverse. So what is really interesting about this part is the emergence of play to earn. You all heard about the success of Axie Infinity, and even of a very recent game that is called So Rare, right? So those play to earn games, they don't have the best gameplay, but because of the economic incentive that we talked about, that is blockchain based, those games are generating a lot of traffic as well. So it is challenging the traditional game monetization model, as in-game currency purchase, the walled garden, the gray market issue, and this. So when you are playing a game, play, you can never return the game. You already bought the game, you have to play it, right? So this kind of unnatural purchasing behavior, even when a game is not fun anymore, you still have to keep it or resell it in another platform. That doesn't exist in this kind of metaverse anymore. There are always new content, new users, new things, new creations, and you will play it as a creator, as a player. So it will be rather different as well. So those are kind of the elements of differentiation between traditional gaming or metaverse and blockchain-based metaverse. So I don't know how many time we still have, because I saw that I think it's 24 for 24. So when are we going to open for the questions?
We can you can address some more topics that you like, and then maybe in 5 minutes we open up for the questions. We already have one question in the chat, which you just briefly touched upon. It was like, how would that NFT gaming business model have an impact on traditional gaming business models, like your company's business model?
Okay, so maybe just before jumping into that, I will do a quick wrap up around what is the future foresights, let's say, of the metaverse. So let's say in the ideal world, we have an ideal metaverse, right? So if we can build this ideal metaverse, what does it take? Of course, it will take a very, very advanced hardware, not only B2B hardware, such as the creation, scanning tools, cameras, to create these 3D objects, but also consumer facing hardwares, such as VR headset. Already now everybody is using smartphone, so that is one part of it. But people are always more and more connected, and the consumer gadget, such as Apple glasses or Google glasses, that is maybe coming one day. Those consumer hardware is very important for the user experience part of the metaverse. And another element of the ideal metaverse will be the networking. So for now, we still have latency. We don't have enough computational power to do real-time transaction, to do real-time connection, especially in the world. A lot of places, they are not connected, right? We are maybe living in cities and we are well connected, but there are a huge number of population that are not yet. And of course, there are a couple of other elements, such as virtual platform. Or also you have to have interchangeable tools and standards to allow the transaction between among different metaverse, instead of very closed ecosystem only in one game or one metaverse. And another element is payment. So is there one kind of currency? Is there a couple of different kind of currency? Is it cryptocurrency? So that is one element to take into account as well. And also, of course, in the long term, there will be a different business model, different content that are created, different user behavior, but that is in the long run. So that is to wrap up what I said about gaming, what I said about emerging technology, and what I said about metaverse. So I'll probably answer the question just after drinking some water.
Yeah, wow, it's really fascinating. You can also share with us, how far are we actually away from really living the metaverse? I guess the second question from Mayank also refers to that.
Thank you. I was muting myself and I cannot react anymore. So yeah, maybe the second question first, when is the metaverse happening? Well, the future is always ongoing, right? Tomorrow is today's future, so that is some bullshit. But to answer your question, it really depends on the definition of metaverse. Like, do you really want the ultimate perfect metaverse? That is really, really far, right? With all the elements that I mentioned. However, there are different kinds of efforts that are different compositions that are being made. Some companies are better at this part, some companies are better at that part, some better at user-generated content tools, some better at blockchain infrastructure. So different actors are coming, kind of rushing into the same space and direction with their different package, with different knowledge, and trying to be one day maybe the Facebook, the Google of metaverse. So I would say I wouldn't be able to answer how many years, but my personal point of view is that in the future there will be a couple of monopolies or in a better way, a couple of competitors in the space with most resources, with standardized tools, with more users that are being made. So hopefully that answers the question. And then what are the other questions? So, okay, I'm seeing in the chat that how do you see gaming NFTs impacting the current income model for Ubisoft? To be honest, I cannot answer questions specifically regarding my company. I can answer questions that is more in a general sense. So let's say if the question is gaming NFTs impact around the current business model for gaming industry in general, right? So that is when I was talking about the new play to earn model. So a lot of different big gaming companies, they are trying to look into this new model to try to see the secret recipe of it and try to not to lose out, because in all kinds of technologies, there are newcomers that may take out the big old ones that can, for example, Netflix, right? Trying to take over Disney now. That is typically the example of what can be happening in the technology of entertainment space. So I wouldn't say the current model will change right away, but maybe there will be an emerging model that is coming to be one of the major business models, because I mentioned there's in-game currency, there is virtual item sales. Those are very traditional, or subscriptions, or you buy one game and then you pay for it, right? And then if you want some update, you have seasonal pass, you can keep paying for it for different stories, different parts of the world. So that is the traditional model. But maybe the new model is around user-generated content, and you are a creator, you make money, you are using those creations, you pay money. So that can have a new dynamism inside of this world. So that is maybe answering your question. So another part of the question from Simon is, I'm guessing this will impact things like microtransactions and potentially adding content like character skins. Well, yeah, microtransaction will still exist for some time, I would say, because the current user behavior and everything, and not, so I wouldn't say impacting, but we will add it into new models. And the additional content like character skins, if it is user-generated content, yes, and you have to give tools for normal users, normal players, for them to be able to create very easily, right? And some other questions maybe? And a question from Mayank. What implications will life in Metaverse have for us in the real world? Economically, socially, okay. So that is what I mentioned about user behavior in the short term and in the long term. So in the short term, people's behavior will change. For example, I would say in a B2C sphere, there will be more and more branding of Nike, of Chanel, of Louis Vuitton inside of the virtual space. And then this will be the first business model of B2C business. You are being the target of advertising, right? And then afterwards, it will become in-game, or let's say in Metaverse e-commerce. So you wouldn't be going to Amazon.com. You wouldn't be going to the shop next door. You will just buy things you see inside of the Metaverse because you want it in the virtual, and you want the same thing in your real life. You want the same Nike shoes that you are wearing in the virtual world as is on your real feet. That is the short-term impact. And the long-term impact, I would say, is the user behavior, because the next generation of little kids playing games, they wouldn't be playing Fortnite. They will be in Metaverse, right? So they are going to be the little kids that are Metaverse native, which is saying that they wouldn't have the intuition of, okay, this is a game, and then the game has limits. For them, the game has no limits. They can be the creator of game. They can make their pocket money in game. So those are the long-term impacts that I would say. So maybe I suggest that can I suggest that people who has questions just demute and then ask, because then it will have more conversation. Yeah.
All right. So anyone who has like questions, raise your hands, and then I will unmute you. In the meantime, maybe we can speak about, because you already mentioned it in your talk, about the computational power and the hardware requirements needed, right? It seems to be that we're building up a world that requires quite a lot of energy. Or are you like, seeing some other trends that as an outsider, one wouldn't know how technology is emerging?
Well, that is a great question, because one of the ethical questions that we ask when we are building this metaverse is that, if we keep everybody online all the time, always live, that is energy costing. And then what about people's mental health and physical health, right? So I would say the energy consuming issue can be solved by some novel technologies. So we can say it is relative. So for now, when we are having one game, we're consuming, for example, a amount of energy. And in the future, it will be optimized in the sense that more people will be live, or more people will be sharing the experience. The energy consumption will be the same. So I'm not an expert on this part. However, this is one question that all the big companies, when they are building the so-called metaverse, they are thinking about, right? So because sustainability is a big issue, and then not only for blockchain people, but also for tech and gaming industry in general. So that is my answer, but it didn't really answer the question, because I really don't know.
Yeah, and even we're seeing a lot of new gaming models emerging, at least in the crypto space, where a part of the revenues is smart contracted away directly to tree planting organizations and so on, as a quick fix to address that issue that obviously is a bit more of a systemic question. But yeah, the community is thinking about it already.
Yes. Well, I see the effort of fixing the issue. For instance, there is a startup that is pitching me the idea of creating an NFT that is for sponges, and then you can use those, because when you split a natural sponge, it will actually grow into a whole one, and then you can put it into water to clean the water. So when you are playing the game, you're buying the NFTs, you're helping the sponges to clean the ocean, for instance. So that is one idea. However, I don't think this is the end though. The idea sounds good, sounds cool. However, it sounds more of a short-term solution than a long-term solution for me. Yeah.
Totally with you. So we need to think a bit deeper. I have unmuted Simon, and then next will be Adrian before I think we close our Q&A.
Hi, Yingzi. Really, really interesting what you were talking about. One of the things that I heard or saw recently was about Selfridges, the big department store that were doing NFT fashion items. And these are things that could be used across the metaverse. But so say, for example, you flash the camera across me, I might be wearing what I'm wearing now, but in the metaverse, you'd see me in augmented reality, but with a fashion item on that was an NFT. So I've seen that demonstrated. Have you seen much of that, or how do you see that evolving?
I would say these kind of services and providers of metaverse there are a lot of startups and companies doing that, each doing a little part. For instance, some more concentrated on AR, some are more concentrated on building a marketplace. So those different efforts, they are emerging, right? But it's trying to contribute to this famous metaverse stack. I call it metaverse tech stack because it requires different tech components to building up a metaverse. So the exact service you were talking about around AR, I didn't see, but there are similar services that I saw on startups that are digital identity wallet or that are marketplace for 3D NFTs. And then with different formats of a file, you can drag this file, let's say, or this 3D objects and this NFT into different worlds, into different metaverse. So that is, for example, one similar service we can think about. But of course, there's so many things that different people are doing. So that's why we are in startups fair, right? We want to see what are the solutions that are suggested by all those different people and talents.
Okay, thank you very much. We have Adrian next.
Hi, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, I was asking about the computational power, but also I would like to know about the artificial intelligence. What will be the the role of from your point of view of the artificial intelligence in the gaming industry? I am pretty excited about that. I've heard that even the punks will be able to hip hop with the artificial intelligence. Things pretty amazingly crazy. So yeah, I would like to know what could be possible, or what are you thinking, or what do you see in this about this matter?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so regarding the question of how much computational power would you need, but there's another part of the phrase is like, would you need to do perfect metaverse or something, right? So I wouldn't be able to quantify the effort because I don't know what is the final result. However, I can answer your question of the effort around the distributed computational power. I lost the question in the chat, but it's okay. So we do have a startup that is incubated that is called Aleph. That is a French startup doing decentralized infrastructure. So that is really providing the exact solution that you are suggesting, right? So decentralized computational power for building this metaverse. So it is called ALEPH. So that is, as I said during the previous question, it is one of the efforts from one startup trying to solve one specific issue inside of this metaverse. Your other question is AI, right? So your question is the use of AI in current gaming industry. There are so many. It's mainly like automation of creation of services. However, if I want to extend a little bit your question into what is the usage of AI inside of Metaverse, I would say right away, I would say in the short term, the usage of AI directly is into the creation tools, meaning that as a normal user, I wouldn't be able to create a digital world myself. But with the help of AI tools, I would be able to generate a 3D world pretty much easily. So, and maybe you saw already the recent published paper of NVIDIA, of Google. So you will be able to just draw a very ugly mountain and river and trees, and then they will be able to provide you with color, with 3D dimensioned this kind of landscape. So that is what I say when I say AI assisted content creation. So that is one part. But of course, if we are talking about AI, we're talking about a lot of different level of AI, right? That is the tooling part, that's easy. Sorry, if we are talking about like advanced AI, we can have virtual assistants. That is like a NPC, but that is a whole new level, right? So some examples.
Amazing, Yingzi. I guess it would be very helpful for our audience, actually, who's not so familiar with the gaming industry, to just shed a little bit of characteristics. How can you what imagine the gaming communities, the metaverse communities? What kind of people, age profiles, and whatever are actually driving this? From which geographical locations are we seeing most of the innovation coming?
Okay, so, well, it's hard to say metaverse community now, right? Because it depends really on which platform we're talking about. Fortnite, of course, some teenagers and kids, like from my point of view, because I'm not a kid anymore. And or if we are talking about Animal Crossing, which is adapted to a lot of different age. So it's difficult to compare gaming community with metaverse community now, because it really doesn't depend on the definition. It really depends on the platform. However, if we are talking about the creators, so in traditional gaming, we wouldn't talk about creator. The creators, they are from the gaming company. They're adults, right? But in Roblox or in Minecraft, we see young kids like 12 years old, 10 years old, even younger. They are creating their own game inside of this virtual world. This is their playground. There's their space of creation. So when we're talking about creators as users inside of metaverse, this is the whole new definition of the community, which is why metaverse is emerging. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to see how really gaming is one of the levels of in which, you know, the young people can become creators instead of just consumers, and it transforms entire societies. It's both on the bad, like attention economy and so on, but also on the empowerment level of becoming and shaping your own world and even monetizing it in the way you see like most meaningful for your own life. Okay, I think thank you so much for joining our session. Welcome back. I hope you had good discussions in the group sessions. I hope you also have time or after the session to fill our speaker survey. That helps us to improve the curriculum over cohort by cohort. And I want to give the final word to our speaker, Yingzi, today. Thank you so much for enlightening us. For me, it was really, really open, like mind opening, because I heard so many cool concepts that I haven't really put into context with each other before. If you were to like recap the key takeaways that you really want our audience to just take home with themselves, what is it?
Yeah, let's say, well, because when I was in the small room, I have the chance to discover with people, right? So I think people's background is really diverse. It's difficult really to give one suggestions for everybody. However, I would say that it is coming. Metaverse is coming. It's going to be future form of entertainment for sure. Live, I don't know. So trying to understand it is important, and you can have your opinion. You can try it out. It's a first step. It's fun. So for the current stage, I would say, let's make it a playground, right?
Thank you so much. Next week, everyone, we have our focus week on stakeholder capitalism. So we'll have a speaker from Proof of Work there. She's going to show how blockchain can be used to track for impact. And then on Thursday, we will speak about how can you actually use staking as a mechanism to drive sustainability. So all very interesting speakers next week, and hope we can continue with our learning journey in the same way we did for the past 4 weeks. Thanks everyone for joining, and thank you again, Yingzi, for being with Unit Masters community. Bye everyone.